Hard to come back and read after that. All right, I got one more excerpt if that's cool. We're in Edmonton now. Day 14. En route to Edmonton, 8/10/87. Unlike the scenic drive from Vancouver to Calgary through the Canadian Rockies, the drive to Edmonton is like crossing a sheet of glass, just nothing but flat land. It pours most of the way. George puts on the Flying Burrito Brothers' first record and drives the last leg. As we near the city, we hear a strange hissing sound. The rain stops, but it sounds like we're still traveling on wet surface. While we try to figure out what's going on, we realize that George has gotten us hopelessly lost. You know, this bridge seems a little familiar, George says with genuine curiosity. After a long pause during which the rest of us exchange incredulous glances, Ian finally says, George, we've passed over this bridge 3 times already. Bullshit, he says with a little conviction. When we finally find the place an hour later, a club called the Piazza, we get out and discover that the pipe that connects the muffler is busted. Not good. Ian, I ask, how much is it that we budgeted for mechanical problems? That would be nothing, he says. Well, Dave says, opening up the back, we can't sit here and tug our puds over it. We'll deal tomorrow. Let's get our shit in there and take care of what's in front of us. We're 2 weeks into the tour now, and when we hit a town, we've got our routine down. Ian heads in to the club to find out who's in charge. When are we really going on? Was there any advanced promotion? Is our record in the local stores? Has college radio station been playing it? And not to mention, is there any free food and beer? Dave oversees unloading gear and kicking George in the ass. George has a penchant for disappearing whenever we're loading or unloading, kind of like the guy who splits for the can when the check arrives. Dave catches George drifting away and bellows, George, I see what you're doing. You think I don't, but I do. Now get over here and give us a fucking hand. George sheepishly slumps back over and grabs a guitar case. Tonight we're opening for a punk band called Fang from San Francisco. Their singer has a wooden leg. No fancy prostheses, just a hunk of wood jammed into his midsection. About as high-tech as a pirate marching around a ship on a sawed-off mop handle. After we introduce ourselves, their guitarist asks us how our border crossing went. We tell him it went surprisingly well. You're lucky, he says, rubbing his backside. We got a cavity check. A cavity check? Raj asks innocently. I don't think he's talking about a trip to the dentist, Ian whispers. It's Fang's crowd tonight, and they came to hear music that thrashes. We're no punk band, but we've played to punk rock crowds before. The most memorable was an all-day, all-night blowout to close the infamous Cathay de Grand in Hollywood. You can't be too precious. You're going to get verbally abused, spit at, and get some shit thrown at you. You start off with a few rocking songs, and then unless you're just so abysmal they don't bother with you at all, they'll start to jump around, shoving and pushing, completely oblivious to what you're doing. At some point, they stop shoving and pushing because someone finally figured out that the song stopped a minute ago. Someone then shouts, come on, play a fast one, man. And in our twisted little world, that means it's time to do a ballad. Naturally, this is met with the touching lament, what's this mellow shit, man? All good fun. We played our guts out tonight and left it all on stage. Loads of people crowd around us after the show, all pretty much saying the same thing. They were one of the most intense bands they've ever seen. We'll take it. They don't have to love us, just remember us. I mean, it's been such a trip. Even though no one knows us out here, we've been getting these amazing responses. I know some nights the crowd's been pretty small, but we're making sure everyone who is there remembers us. It's all about making our mark in the time we have. I mean, it's our first tour. We're nobodies. We can't wait for people to know how grand we are. We've got 1 hour to hijack someone else's crowd and make them our own, and we'll do it by any means necessary. We have to. We vowed to from day one. If Divine Wings is known for nothing else but playing like our lives depend on it, that's enough for me. And that's what happened tonight. It wasn't our crowd, but we just wouldn't let up for a minute. I know it's crazy. Maybe this sounds like we're completely full of ourselves, but we really believe we're on a mission out here. We know music can't change the world, but music changed our world. I mean, it's not even like we're trying to convince anyone our music can change the world. We just want to show people we feel reborn, doing what we're finally meant to do, finally being out here, doing exactly what we know what we're supposed to. We can't help but want to share this feeling. It's like, hey, look at us. Now let your dreams take hold and watch what can happen. Take that idea and pass it along to anyone else you know that's dying out there, too scared to move your feet. As we pack up, this girl, Tony, who interviewed me for her fanzine earlier, bounds up and says she loved us and would have put us up for the night, but her dad, a cop, would be pissed if she brought home 5 guys to stay. A prude. Instead, Ian found some guy named Spider who's wearing a Manson shirt. Looks like him, too. And that's who's putting us up for the night. Great, we're staying at Manson's place tonight.